Hey everybody, I hope you're having a fantastic day. It is one of those 5 a.m. mailbags. So much so that I just realized my cutting mat is upside down. The reason why I'm doing this one so early is because I need the stuff. So let's open this up. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the one that I need the quickest. So this, see, all right, my address thing is upside down. Fantastic. So the main reason why I needed this package right now is this doohickey. This is an M.2 NVMe SSD enclosure. It's the C325. And the reason why I got this is because about a year ago in a mailbag video, I got this and I thought it would be super handy that I could just plug this in a PCIe slot and hook up two NVMe drives and do things like cloning NVMe drives and things like that. But that has not worked out very well. The first reason is that this is a 4X, it's a 2X slot. And so, most motherboards have a couple of 16s and then a couple of 1s. So I'd have to pull a graphics card to put this thing in, which was just crazy annoying. I did it, I used it a few times, but it's not the ideal situation. The ideal situation, although not as fast, would probably be two of these doohickeys. And these are about 20 bucks off Amazon. Destroying the package. And this allows you to take one of these. For those of you who have never seen one, this is a 500 gigabyte M.2 NVMe SSD. And these things are multiples, sometimes 10 times faster than a regular SATA SSD. And so these are the way to go if you can. But most motherboards have at most one or two slots on there to put them in, and so they're difficult to clone and things like that. So let's get this thing out of the package. The way this thing works is you have sticky. You've got an enclosure here, and that's kind of sweet. And you put your little M.2 drive in. It can take various sizes. This is the biggest one it can take, it looks like. And then it is USB-C. So I think it comes with two cables. Comes with USB-C to USB-C. That actually feels like a decent, at least thickness cable. And then we've got USB standard to USB-A to USB-C. And so I have a drive I have to clone this morning, and so this is why I have this. I'm probably going to get a second one of these so I can externally clone these NVMe drives. But this one I figured I would take and I would travel with it and keep an NVMe in it. This is going to be a weekend project or something like that, maybe with my nephew. This is a Keyestudio Smart Little Turtle Robot, mobile app, Android and iOS system. So this has the new BLE app and things like that, plus their drag and drop environment for the robot. And so let's open it up. So we've got the little faces for the front, for the little face can go on the ultrasonic sensor. We have the accessories box. If you guys watch Simple Electronics channel, you've seen him unbox a bunch of these robots. I'm not going to pull every little part out of the box. Look at that though, these are all tiny. It's like smaller parts. So yeah, if you're looking for something to choke on, that kind of thing. So yeah, this one isn't over the top in terms of the number of screws and parts and stuff like that, and that's part of the reason why I got this. I'm looking for some things that I could do one-day builds, so if I do robotics classes, something like this, I think you could feasibly do as a one-day build. So we got, I'm sure these are the sensors. There's looks like some kind of line follower sensor, something like that. You've got your ultrasonic sensor. I'm not going to rip everything out of the box, but there's the Keyestudio branded Uno. And is this the one with the removable chip? Yep, this is the one with the socketed, the dip on there, so you could theoretically program in here and pull it out and put it in something else. We've got, what are these? Some LEDs and some kind of limit switch. Oh, that's a line follower type thing. goes on the bottom and detects if you're inside or outside of a line. And little LED matrix, a Bluetooth, I don't know if you can see that, a Bluetooth board, Bluetooth low energy board, and a motor shield. So again, this is going to be a whole separate thing. I don't know if I'll make an actual build video of it, but we'll see. So yeah, that is the, let's get the name right. That is the Smart Little Turtle Robot V3.0 from Keyestudio. You guys have been awesome about using the Amazon link, so I really appreciate it. Yeah, so I appreciate that. If you're interested in this stuff, links will be in the description. This is, I just mentioned Simple Electronics, and this is not the exact set he recommended, but I got a deal on this one, so I want to try it. These are probably more generically terminal connectors. I used to use the brand name sta-cons, so they are crimp connectors, but they have heat shrink on them, and these are not exactly what I was expecting. So these, yeah, these aren't the ones he recommended. So these are kind of similar to these connectors, except they're not crimp. They're solder steel wire connectors. So instead of crimping, you twist the wires together, and then you use heat shrink, like a, what do they call it? Like a heat gun, to heat this thing, and it melts solder inside of this thing and attaches the wire. So that is really interesting. I've been wanting to play with these things for a while. I use a ton of these things, and I've got all kinds of crimpers for these, these different things. You got it on the field. I really like this kind because they crimp on the end. They're not great. These aren't expensive. In fact, these actually say Sears on them. Who knows how old these are. Then I've got the fancy ratcheting Kleins, and these are great if you can. They're a little hard to one hand even for me. I mean, it's, but once you get them on there, they're fantastic. These will make a really nice, I'm going to waste one. These are going to make a really nice double crimp, nice and neat. You're not going to break the insulation or anything like that. These are another set of Kleins. So these are Kleins, these are Kleins. But these crimp in the middle, which is a real pain when you're doing things like, wire looms and stuff, just getting in there. And then these also have a tendency, if you squeeze too hard, I don't know if I did there, but these have a tendency to get in here and break through to where you actually see the metal on the inside. And you can see the crimping area is about half the size that the big pair does. And then the worst of all are these Greenlee, because I guess you could do an end crimp on there, but if you butt splice something like that, your wires are going to be stuck in here, like in the middle of your crimpers. Like, you'd have to take the spring off to get a butt splice out. So yeah, these are definitely the worst of the worst. But instead, I got these that have solder and stuff on them, and so that is very interesting. We're going to try that. Next up, we have these things. These are Klein also. This could be the Klein show. Not sponsored. They generically call these things Scotch Lock. The 3M version is Scotch Lock, but now they make a lot of different styles of Scotch Lock connectors. But these things here are filled with a gel. I'm going to get an old one to take apart. So these are fake ones, and these are at least brand name ones. And the way they work is you slip 2 wires or 3 wires. These are 2 wires. I really wish they made these tiny ones in 3 wires, but these are 3 wires. You slip the wires in the end, no stripping necessary, and then as you crimp down, it's going to self-pierce, fill the connection with gel, and makes a really good connection. So you can do Ethernet with these things if you need to. Sometimes I use them for Arduino wires. If I need to just put 3 ground wires together, just snap one on there. It's going to be a good connection. If you buy these in a brand name, they're gonna work really well. These are a little bit more questionable. In fact, you can see some of these come like almost pre-compressed, which is annoying. Let me see if I can pull one apart. Yeah, see, these come so pre-compressed. There we go. So you can see, let's see if I can get a shield here. There are little blades on there that will pierce the wire, and there's goop. See, this doesn't even have very much goop in it. That goop seals your wires in water. corrosion resist your wires and things like that. And so these things are super handy, a lot faster than soldering, probably better mechanical connection than soldering in a lot of places. Let me pull, I saw this one, yeah, I'll pull this one apart. So this one is going to have 3 connectors. Yep, so you can crimp 3 things, and it doesn't have that much more gel. I guess by the time you squeeze it down, that gel is going to fill up that cavity. But yeah, when you're done squeezing these things down, gel is going to ooze out all over the place, and they're going to make a decent little connection. And so I love these type of things. They're hard to come by in ones that have good recommendation. You can get 100 of them off Amazon for you know, for $10, but they'll fail. You know, you'll read about people saying that 60% of them fail, 70% of them fail, you know, whatever. So I try to buy 3M or Klein of these. They were out of 3M, so I got Klein. Next up, we've got this. This could be the first mystery, because I have no idea what's in here. Oh, yeah, okay. So I have been using a ton of Wemos D1 minis, and I needed some like right away. And so these came in, I think 3 hours from Amazon. But I love these boards. I've kind of gone back and forth. I started moving over to more ESP8266s, but when it comes down to it, these things are just really, really good. They are ESP8266s, which means they have Wi-Fi. I love that they come with 3 different styles of headers. You've got male headers, you've got tall female headers, you've got standard female headers. So a lot of times I use those in other projects. It's just a nice little compact board that it makes it really hard for me to justify using an Arduino Nano on pretty much anything these days, unless I either need Ethernet or just have some old sketches that are written for the Nano. But the library support is really good for these ESP8266s. But as you can see in my video where I talk about turning a TV on and off, like I just like the way these things work better with things like infrared. I like the option to control them over the network. There's just a ton of advantages to using this thing. And these are, I think, a little bit under $3 in a quantity of 5 or 6 off of Amazon. And so I think you can get them for about $210, $220 shipped from like an AliExpress right now. But if you need them in a couple of hours, you can get them off Amazon for $3. So I think that's pretty reasonable. I am using them by the dozen right now, so I was just a couple short and I wanted to make sure I had some on hand. I do know what this one is. It was improperly cut because I have stuff all over the place. So I had one of those Chinesium 2-in-1 hot air and solder stations, and the reason why I have the one I did so I had one of those 2-in-1 hot air and soldering stations from China, and the reason why I have the one that I have is because it's the only one that would ship to Alaska at the time. And so I liked it okay, but man, I got that Hakko 888D or whatever that thing is called. It looks like a cheap solder station, but man, using that thing is such a joy. Like other than the UI on it, I really love that thing. So once I started using that, I just had a lot less use for the solder station. And so in fact, I just sold it because I got, I have the Hakko, and then for portability, I have this Ryobi one that is the one that can be used with 18 volts or 110 volts. And this actually is pretty good quality. And so I just didn't really have the need for a third solder station around here. And so what I wanted to do was to get rid of that whole thing and have this so that I could take up less space. Like, so I would like this to be able to sit way in the back of my desk so that it's available when I need it, but not out in the middle. Like the soldering station, just, you know, that's going to dedicate some real estate. And what I really liked about this one is, for one thing, the reviews on this thing are fantastic. But for the type of heat shrinky type work I do, this thing just gets really good reviews. So I also have one of the big plug-in heat guns, and then I've got this Ryobi 18 volt one. And the problem with this, I'm sure it'd be fine out in the field or whatever, but it just takes too long to heat up. So when you're doing something like a like heat shrink, a lot of times I'll solder something, I'll turn on the heat gun, I'll heat shrink it, and I won't need to heat shrink anything for another 5 minutes. And so, you know, it's just really annoying waiting for this thing to heat up. So the idea with this one is, you know, it can work like a pencil, or you can have this little thing on here. And the idea with that is that you could put your connectors kind of right in the middle here. You know, you'd be holding it from both sides, and you've got this heat reflector here to reflect the heat back around. And last but not least, we have this bad boy that I got from Direct Tools. This is the 23 gauge cordless pin nailer. Now, I don't even have one of these in air, so this is my first pin nailer. I decided to button up those connectors that I had over there. Okay, so I've always wanted a pin nailer. It sounds like, hold on, there's accessories in there. Okay, there we go. I've always wanted a pin nailer because in finish work, you can get by with just leaving the nail there because they're basically invisible. They're also good for the types of things that I do in the shop where I might need to tack something together. So let's see here. Should we read the instructions? Nah, it's going to be obvious, right? Now, I did decide to look at the instructions, and I mean, I think this is kind of ridiculous that on a nailer you can't spare the picture to show you how to put the nails in. Place the pin nails in the channel with the nail tips pointing down, resting on the bottom of the channel. Like, I just feel like that's pretty bush league to not come in here and tell me exactly how those things go. So I'm going to take these little tiny pin nails out. Man, it's really even hard to tell. I don't see it top or bottom. To be honest, I don't see one side. Okay, they've got arrows pointing. I'm guessing the arrows are pointing down. So let's look at the other side of the channel. It might be, oh, there we go. It's more obvious on this side. So they slide down, bottom of the channel, push in like that. Okay. I mean, it's obviously not hard, but I feel like you could spare, you know, a milliliter of ink to explain that. Okay, so it does shoot. It's a little, the trigger lockout is a little annoying here. The fact that you have to really, oh gosh. Okay, so there's, I was wondering about that. There's nothing in here stopping you from firing it out like that, like I just did, other than the guard telling you to be careful. So, all right. I've got a piece of wood here. This is actually the, this is the wood that I used for the Kit of the Year award. Now, this stuff is not made to have a whole lot of holding strength. So these little pin nails are made to just basically keep something on there while you're gluing it, or a little piece of trim, something like that. So they're not made to have a ton of strength. They're made to be able to remove them fairly easily and, you know, not do a ton of damage to the work that you've done. So I don't know that I'm going to use this a ton, but I think it's kind of handy to have it. I'm not 100% sure that I'm in love with it, but this is the Ryobi Pin Nailer. So there you have the mailbag items. These were $5 for 25 of them, and they are prime. This was $20 for the thing. It was prime. These were, I think, like $16. They're going back. The robot is $50, and I'm going to be putting that together. There are 6 of these Wemos D1 minis for $17. This thing was $20 and very well reviewed, and I like it. The pin nailer was $80 at Direct Tools, and yeah, that's what I got. So hey, thanks for watching. Have a great day.